Hello, my dear students. Hope you guys are all doing good. Hope you guys are all perfectly fine. So many students have been asking for me to revise the chapter digital audit. So we'll do in this session a quick revision of all the important concepts of this digital audit and assurance. So purely our revision is going to be from the examination perspective. So I'm going to revise the key concepts from this chapter. So I know why you guys have been asking me regarding this chapter, or why, because this chapter is something like a gray area for us. So remaining all other chapters are something which we are familiar with, the terminology. We can write something of our own, even though if we don't exactly find the answer, but still we can write something about the other chapters when the question gets tested from other chapters. But in this chapter, since the terminology is very technical, so we might not have that first-hand experience of the things which they are talking about in this chapter, digital audit. So that's why we often face trouble in answering the questions from this chapter. So that's why I will try to explain the things in a very simple way so that you will be able to write the relevant content when the question gets tested from this chapter of the examination. Okay, right. So having said that, let me try to proceed further and try to explain or try to start revising the content digital audit. So the first concept which we will be starting with. So first we need to understand two things. First, we need to understand the first concept in this chapter, digital audit, which is going to be important from the examination perspective, is we need to understand the difference between two things. Number one is digital audit, and the other term is auditing digitally. So two things actually, we need to identify the differences between these two. Number one is digital audit and the other one is auditing digitally. Sir, what is the difference between digital audit and auditing digitally? Are they both trying to convey the same thing? The answer is no. Digital audit is different, auditing digitally is different. So what is the difference between two? Let us try to understand it with the help of an example. Take for example, there is a company, Reliance Industries Limited. There is a company, Reliance Industries Limited. Now, as we all know today, many business organizations, even if you take the small and mid-sized organizations also, they are relying on technology for their various functions. So if you take the so-called MNC companies, so-called listed companies, they have almost automated all their activities. So they are coming to their manufacturing, coming to their production, coming to their HR activities, coming to their accounting. So when it comes to big organizations, they are spending a lot of money and using the technology for conducting all their operations. So one such biggest conglomerate of our country, Reliance Industries Limited. So take for example, this company has implemented technology to a very larger extent. Number one, for the purpose of accounts, they are using some accounting software. They're using, take for example, they're using a software called SAP for the purpose of their accounting. For their payroll activities, for the purpose of making payment of the salaries to the staff and wages and all, for this payroll also, they are using some kind of software. They are managing their HR activities also with the help of one software. So whatever HR activities they have to perform, like recruitment and tracking their attendance, giving the promotions, doing their performance analysis. So for the purpose of their HR operations also, they are using some kind of accounting software. For their operations, like for taking purchase decisions, production decisions, how much quantity should be produced, how much quantity should be stored, what should be their stock levels, what should be the minimum stock level, so how much they have to, how many sale orders they can accept in the coming 1 year. So like that, even for their operations, for their execution of the business, for buying and selling and for manufacturing also, they are using various softwares. So this company like Reliance Industries Limited, for the purpose of carrying out their various operations, they have used a lot of softwares. Now, this entity is hugely relying on technology for the purpose of running their business. If they have to run the show, if they have to run the business, they have to work on this software. But we are all aware, even softwares also might have some problems. Softwares also might have some problems. There might be coding errors, there might be some blockages in the coding, sometimes execution problems will come. So whatever technology we are relying on, sometimes there could be a problems in that technology as well. And if such kind of problem happens in this company, so this company like Reliance, it is hugely relying on the technology for the day-to-day operations. If there is some problem in the technology, whatever they are using, the consequences which it is going to have, the impact which it is going to have, the operations it is going to disrupt, we can't imagine it. We can't imagine the damage which is going to happen. The cost for the companies are very huge. They have to face a huge amount of losses, not just in terms of money, in terms of reputation, in terms of time, in terms of your image. So companies have to face huge consequences if something goes wrong with the software, because they're exclusively reliant on the technology for their operations. Now, don't you think this Reliance Industries Limited need an assurance that whatever softwares they are working, whatever information technology they are using, whatever information technology they are relying for the purpose of getting their business done, don't you think they need an assurance whether this information technology, whatever they are relying on, is it effective or not? Is there any problems in this information technology? Can they rely on the technology or not, or they have to make any updates to the technology? Don't you think this Reliance Industries Limited needs some assurance on the software, on the information technology, whatever they are using? Yes. So they have appointed some entity. Take for example, they have appointed some one of the big four entity, EY they have appointed. Now the purpose why this EY has been appointed is to study the softwares, to verify, to examine the softwares, whatever this Reliance Industries Limited is doing, and give an assurance whether this information technology is free from any issues, whether they can rely on the technology or not, whether they have to replace any technology. So that assurance has to be given by this EY. So with that objective, they have appointed this big four entity EY to give assurance to the Reliance Industries Limited, whatever information technology they are relying on, is it effective or not? Is it requires any updation? Is it require any changes? Or is it require any drastical changes? So that assurance will be given by EY. So this assignment we call it as digital audit. This assignment we are going to call it as what? Digital audit. So basically what is happening in the digital audit, the name itself says here the audit of digital environment of the client is happening. What is happening here? The audit of digital environment. Here EY is not verifying the books of accounts, not verifying financial statements, not verifying their operating records or something, but EY is verifying here the systems, the information technology, the overall information technology which the Reliance Industries Limited is using. So conducting the audit of that digital environment, we call it as digital audit. So now what is auditing digitally? Let me extend the same example here as well. Take for example, Reliance Industries Limited is there. Now, Reliance Industries Limited, they have run their business for the financial year 23-24. They have maintained their books of accounts, they have prepared their financial statements. Now, they have their complete books of accounts ready. They have their financial statements also ready. As we all know, the companies are mandatorily required to undergo audit of their financial information. So, these books of accounts and financial statements, we are going to collectively call it as financial information. Books of accounts and financial statements, collectively what do we call it? Financial information we call it. So as we all are aware, every company as per the requirements of the Companies Act, they are required to undergo audit. So what this Reliance Industries Limited has done is they have appointed Deloitte. They have appointed Deloitte, one of the big four entity, to conduct audit of the financial information, to verify the books of accounts, to verify the financial statements, and express an opinion on that financial statements and give an audit report, which will happen for every entity. So on the same lines, Reliance also has appointed Deloitte to verify the financial information and give an opinion and express their opinion in the form of a written report. Now, this Deloitte, while conducting the audit of the financial information of the Reliance Industries Limited, now Deloitte started using some digital tools. Deloitte started using some digital tools for the purpose of conducting audit of the financial information. Now we will say here Deloitte is auditing digitally. So auditing digitally means we will verify the financial information only, we will do the routine audit only, but instead of doing that audit manually, instead of following the conventional methods, instead of following the traditional methods which our previous generation used to do, but Deloitte now what they have decided is, let us do one thing, we will use one software for the purpose of conducting the audit. So Deloitte will have their own customized software. Using that customized software, they will do the audit for the purpose of analyzing the financial information, for the purpose of analyzing the entries in the books of accounts, for the purpose of finding out the misstatements, for the purpose of verifying effectiveness of internal controls, for the purpose of selection of sampling, for the purpose of performing analytical procedures. So they will do their entire audit taking the assistance of the software, using some softwares which are available in the market or using their own customized softwares. So here I will say Deloitte is auditing digitally. Deloitte is conducting their audit in a digital manner. Able to understand everybody? So able to identify the differences between the two. So in the digital audit, what will happen? So the persons, the auditor, whomever we call it, so those persons will actually come and verify the systems. Whereas when I say auditing digitally, in that what is going to happen is the auditor is going to verify the financial information only, but instead of following the old and conventional and traditional methods, he will use the technology, he will use the digital tools which are available for the purpose of conducting the audit. That we are going to call it as auditing digitally. Able to understand? So that is a difference between two, digital audit and auditing digitally. Now, the questions which are important from the examination perspective are, they might ask you a question, what are the advantages of digital audit? So they are asking about this. So if you undergo digital audit, how it will be benefited, how it will benefit the client. Number one, you enhanced efficiency and effectiveness. So if you get your digital audit done, the digital auditor will tell whether your systems are working fine or not. If the systems are not working fine, you can make changes. If you make changes, overall your organization's efficiency and effectiveness will get improved. Better audit quality. See, if the digital audit is happening and the digital auditor has given a assurance, okay, these systems are all working fine, that will automatically help the statutory auditor also. Now the statutory auditor also will have more confidence, okay, systems are all working fine, I can rely on the financial information which is getting generated from the systems. So if you get the digital audit done, it will improve the overall effectiveness of your statutory audit as well. So that is what the second advantage. Lower cost, you can reduce the cost. Organizations can undergo cost reduction. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because once if they get the digital audit done, they can have that assurance. They need not spend more cost on continuous evaluation of their systems. If they did not undergo digital audit, they will always have the doubt in the mind, and they will always have spend some amount of time and money in order to evaluate that. But if you get the digital audit done, you will get the assurance, you can rely more on systems, you get more comfortable, you use new systems, and by using new systems, your cost is also going to get reduced. So that is what one more advantage, lower cost. So three advantages we have seen. Number one, enhanced efficiency and effectiveness, better audit quality. Number three, cost will get reduced, better analytics. You tell me, human will do better analysis or systems will do better analysis? Keeping in mind the advancements which are happening in the technology, you tell me who can do better analysis. We are all seeing this AI. Tell me who is doing better analysis. Systems always will do better analytics. Why? Because systems will not have bias. Humans will have bias. Humans will undergo fatigue. Humans will undergo laziness. But these kind of emotions will not be there for systems. So that's why where better analytics will be possible, better analytics is going to be possible with the help of systems. Improved risk assessment. So by making sure that your systems are all fine, so you can also make sure that risk assessment also can be done in a better manner. Understood? So these are all the advantages of digital audit. What are the 5 advantages, guys? Enhanced efficiency and effectiveness, better audit quality, lower cost, better analytics, and improved risk assessment. So on the similar lines also, if you look at key features or advantages of auditing digitally, we have also seen the concept of auditing digitally, right? So we have seen advantages of digital audit. Now, what will be advantages of auditing digitally? If the auditors start using digital tools for their audit purposes, how it is going to benefit? See, it is going to benefit auditors also. It is going to benefit the clients also. If the auditors start using technology for doing audit, it will have 2 advantages. One kind of advantages will be there for the client. Why? Because by using technology, the quality of the work will get increased. If the audit is happening in a better manner, ultimately client will be benefited. And if as an auditor, you started making use of the digital tools and techniques, you will reduce the time. You can do the audit in a much more effective way. In that manner, you are also getting benefited. So by auditing digitally, auditor is also going to get benefited. The client is also going to get benefited. So what are the different kinds of benefits? So if we see it, improved quality of the audit. Definitely with the help of systems, by using the digital tools and technologies, your audit quality will get improved. There is no doubt about it. Clear? So that's what they're trying to say here, improved quality of audits. Next, after that, decreased human dependency. So if you start using more and more systems, you can reduce the dependency on humans. See, reducing the dependency on humans is a good thing or bad thing? Reducing dependency on humans is good thing. Why? Because if you are more dependent on human beings are subject to emotions. For example, my work is completely based on humans. So tomorrow, if I don't pay enough of salary, or if I'm not giving hike for my employees, what that employees will say, we'll go on a strike, we will not come for your will not come to duties for tomorrow for a week. So then my entire operations will get affected. But if I rely on the technology is not going to ask for me any hike. It will not ask me for every month 2 paid leaves. All that things will not be there. So reducing human dependency is always a good sign for any company. So when you are using digital audit, when you are auditing digitally, similarly, you are also reducing the human dependency. Reducing the human dependency is always going to be advantage for any organization. Increase the transparency. See, if you start using human beings, what will happen? If you allocate some work to the article assistant, so that article assistant has done the work. But if we found some mistake, he's having some close relationship with the client. One of your engagement team member is having some close relationship with the client. So even though he found the misstatement, he has hidden from the engagement partner. But if the system has done that work, system will not have that bias. Okay, this client is familiar to me, I have to hide this misstatement from the engagement partner. That kind of bias will not be there. So better transparency will be there. If you start using system, better transparency, no hiding of the information will be there. So increases transparency, automation and ease. Whatever routine task which you are supposed to perform, whatever routine coaching, whatever routine verification which you do, which are very mechanical, which are very boring, which does not involve any application of your judgment or analytics, all that routine work you can automate. So if you are automating all the routine work, you can concentrate your mind more on analytical work. And also improved efficiency, nothing but quality is getting improved. Efficient in the sense less time consuming, so you can complete the audits within less amount of time. Next one, better risk assessment. This is also advantage whatever we have seen for digital audit. Also the same kind of advantage will be there for auditing digitally. If as an auditor, if you start making use of technology, if you start making use of digital tools, you can do better risk assessment. You can identify in a better manner which area is having high risk, which area is having low risk, where you need to concentrate more, where you need to concentrate less. That decisions you can take it in a better way. So these are all going to be advantages of auditing digitally. Understood everybody? So these concepts regarding auditing digitally and digital audit is going to be important from the examination perspective. Clear everybody till here? These concepts, is everybody comfortable? So if you are comfortable, then we'll proceed further with the next concept from this chapter. So coming to the next concept, so we have this thing. So what specifically you need to understand regarding the client's automated environment? So this is one such important question from the examination perspective. So what they are trying to say here, guys, if you remember, when we have understood the risk assessment procedures, we have understood risk assessment procedures as a part of SA 315. We understood that the first and foremost procedure which auditor is going to perform is risk assessment procedures. And when I say risk assessment procedures, it involves three things. It involves understanding of entity, understanding of environment, and understanding of internal controls. So we need to understand three things as a part of risk assessment procedures. We need to understand about the client's entity. We need to understand about the client's environment, in what kind of environment my client is operating, and also what kind of internal controls my client is having. These things I need to understand. And when I say I need to obtain an understanding of the client's environment, it includes even automated environment also. It even includes what? Understanding client's automated environment. So environment means in which kind of industry it is operating, what kind of laws and regulations it is operating, what kind of laws and regulations are applicable for your client. In addition to that, if you give a deeper reading of SA 315, you will realize that the standard is also asking you to understand the client's automated environment. Nothing but they're asking you to understand the client's digital environment. Okay, everybody agree to the fact, okay, yes, I will try to obtain understanding of automated environment as well. But what exactly you will try to understand? On an overall basis, if you assume you are a part of my engagement team, we have all got the audit of the client X Limited. You are my engagement team member. I'm asking you, boss, you go and understand the client's automated environment. I'm sending you to my client's premises and telling, boss, you go to so and so client, come back with understanding of the client's automated environment. What things you will try to include in your understanding? Overall understanding. I'm not talking about specific things. I'm talking about on an overall basis, what things you will try to understand. So you will try to understand these things, like what applications your client is using. You will try to understand the list of all the softwares. You will try to go to the client premises, make a list of all the softwares, whatever your client is using. And you will try to determine what is the purpose, which is software they are using, for which purpose they are using. Are they belonging to financial purposes? Are they relating to non-financial purposes? And also you will try to understand their IT infrastructure, like IT infrastructure components, in the sense what softwares they are using, what hardwares they are using, what kind of networks they are using. So you will try to understand about their entire IT infrastructure. You will also try to understand their overall organization structure. So how IT department is entirely structured. So you'll try to understand that, and what policies, procedures, and processes they are following in the IT department, and also IT integration, which softwares are integrated with which software. Like for example, today the billing software will be linked with the accounting software, payroll software will be linked with the banking software, security software will be linked with the attendance software. So you will try to understand integration, interconnectivity between the softwares, and even what IT risks are arising, and to protect that IT risk, what kind of controls are implemented. what kind of controls are implemented. So if you are a part of my engagement team and if I ask you to go and get the understanding of the client's automated environment, these are the things which you need to understand on an overall basis. What overall basis you will try to understand? List of all the softwares, IT applications they are using, what is their IT infrastructure, what is their organizational structure, what policies, procedures and processes they are following, IT integration, that is which softwares are integrated with which software, and what kind of IT risk are arising, and what kind of controls organization has implemented. And you will not just get this understanding, you will also try to document this. Whatever understanding that you have obtained, all that understanding needs to be documented. As a part of SA 230, we will include various kinds of things in our documentation. In that documentation, your understanding of the automated environment also must be included. Clear? So this is what regarding overall understanding. Now if you look at the next question will be talking about key areas. Now they're going deeper. Question number 5 talks about overall understanding of the automated environment. Now question number 6, they talk about specific things, key areas in the sense specific things. What specific things you will try to understand regarding IT environment. So the only difference is question number 5 overall understanding, question number 6 specifically what you need to understand regarding the client's automated environment. Like for example, you have as a part of previous question, you understood that your client is using some kind of accounting software. You came to know your client is using accounting software, and you understood that the accounting software whatever your client is using is SAP. Now in this SAP, what specifically you will try to understand? In this SAP specifically, what you will try to understand? So a few items I have given here, like first one, I will try to understand the flow of transactions. In this SAP software, how the transactions are flowing. Like who is initiating the transaction, who is approving it, who is having the power to approve it. So first where it will be reflected, for example, first a journal entry will be passed. From there it will go and get affected in the ledgers. From ledgers it will get affected in the trial balance. From the trial balance it will get impacted in the financial statements. So like this, I will try to understand the entire flow of the transaction. What is the starting point? What is the ending point? In between, how many people are involved? In between, how many departments are involved? Who is initiating? Who is approving? Who is recording? That entire flow of transactions you have to understand. That is the first key area which you need to understand. Then after that, you have to identify significant systems. What is the most important system? In this entire SAP, what is the most important component? That I will try to understand. Then identification of manual controls and automated controls. Now in this SAP, various controls organization will try to implement. Now out of these controls, how many controls are manual controls? How many controls are automated controls? If I give you example of manual control, like for example, wherever server is located, wherever this entire server of SAP is located, there unauthorized person should not enter. To make sure that unauthorized persons are not entering, they have appointed security guards at the entry gates of server room. This is a manual control. Now, what are automated controls? Now, if someone has got inside the server, if they have to access that server, they have to enter a username and password, or they have to give their biometric, or they have to give their biometric scan, retinal scan. So here the control is what? Automated control. Control is getting implemented with the help of system. So you need to understand concerning that system, what controls were there and whether they are using manual controls or whether they are using automated controls. You tell me which control will always be better. Manual controls will be better or automated controls will always be better. Automated controls will always be better than manual controls to the extent possible. Wherever there is a suitability, wherever there is a possibility, organization should go for automated controls. If at all automated control is not possible in one area, in those areas the management should implement manual controls. So to the extent possible, wherever there is a scope, try to implement automated controls. Then you have to identify what kind of technologies they are using. Especially you need to understand, are they making use of any emerging technologies? Sir, what are the emerging technologies like blockchain, artificial intelligence, or robotics, internet of things, biometrics, drone, whether they are using any of this kind of emerging technologies that we need to understand. So all these emerging technologies, we are going to talk about them in a short span. Next, the last thing which you need to analyze it, whether the IT environment is very complex or is it a little bit easy to understand. So whether IT environment is a complex or not, that is going to depend on some factors. Like if you see here, complexity is based on the following factors. What are the factors? Automation, what level of automation has taken place? Entities reliance, how much entity is relying on systems? Are they more reliant or they less reliant? Customization, is it a market is it a ready-made software or is it a customized software? What is the business model? And also any significant changes done during the year regarding implementation of emerging technologies. So considering all these factors, you have to assess how complex the client's IT environment is. Clear, everybody? So when they ask you key areas, when they ask you to write about overall understanding, you will write question number 5. When they specifically ask you to write the key areas, these are the 5 key areas they have to write. Clear? So what are the 5 key areas? Understand the flow of the transactions. Then you have to identify the significant systems, identification of manual and automated controls, identification of emerging technologies getting used, and assessing the complexity of IT environment. And coming to the next concept, see, we all are aware usage of information technology in our business, in our audits, is having so many advantages. There is no doubt about it. I know everybody will agree to my statement that usage of information technology is beneficial for the businesses. No one will deny my statement. But we should also recognize the fact that usage of the information technology has not just brought advantages, along with it, so many new kind of risks also it has brought. Usage of information technology did not just give us the advantages. As we all are aware, today information technology has brought many new kind of risk as well. Sir, what kind of risk? Loss of data, unauthorized access to data, some people getting access beyond their requirements, changes to the programs, someone will hack the system, make unnecessary changes to the program, loss of financial data. So like that, usage of the information technology has given rise to new kind of risks also. So what are that risks which are arising from the use of IT? So that list has been given here. So if we quickly go through it, unauthorized access to data, those people who aren't supposed to get the access to the data, they might get access to the data in an unauthorized manner. So by way of this hacking and all, they can get access to unauthorized data. And the possibility of IT personnel gaining privileged accesses. Some people will get access beyond their requirements, like employees' salary related information that should not be available for everybody. But some employee tried to hack the system and got access to see how much the company is paying for each and every person. So a person has got privileged access here. He has got access beyond his requirements. That also could be a problem. Unauthorized changes to IT applications. Some people will go to the coding source code and they will make changes to the source code. So unauthorized changes to the applications. Failure to make necessary update. See, IT systems require continuous updation. If you don't update the system in a timely manner, that also poses a new kind of risk for the organization. So failure to make necessary updates. Inappropriate manual intervention. Unnecessarily manual intervention will happen. See, to the extent possible, when you have implemented a system without manual intervention, the activity should happen. Even after implementation of some software also, if the manual intervention is happening, that is a bigger red flag there. So inappropriate manual intervention can break the systems. Or data loss or data corruption. This is a major problem. Today, the data is everything. They say, people often say data is a new currency. And also, if you look at the richest people in the world, those people who are in the Forbes 500, Forbes 50 list, they are not the people who are creating tangible things. So all the technology owners like software companies, IT companies, social media companies, the owners of these companies are the so-called richest people in the world. And these companies are having a lot of data, lot of personal data. See, today we are using Google, today we are using YouTube, today we are using Instagram. So these all platforms are provided free of cost. What these companies are getting, sir? They are getting a lot of things. What they are getting, they are getting data. Sir, what they will do with my data, sir? They will sell the data. They will sell your data to the corporate companies. They will sell the data to the marketing companies. They will sell your data to the political parties. They will sell your data to, we don't know with whom and all our data is existing. So data loss. Just imagine what if the bank's server gets hacked. Just imagine, see, even in the recent times it has happened. Aadhaar data has also been hacked. COVID vaccine related data, which contains your Aadhaar number, your mobile number, your identification, even that data has also been hacked. So like this, loss of data is a major problem. And there is a risk of system downtime. So sometimes hardware failures can happen, sometimes power failures can happen, sometimes cyber attacks could happen. Because of that, the system might face a downtime. And risk of system integration and system compatibility. See, today the organizations are using systems in such a way that each and everything is connected with each other. If somewhere a problem happens in one system, entire organization has to suffer. So that's what we frequently experience in SBI. So we often have server problems, not because the entire system, all the systems in the SBI are failing. Only one system in the SBI will undergo some interruption. But the SBI is organized in such a way that each and every system is integrated. So even if one small component of the system undergoes some failure, entire server will come to an halt. So like that, there is a risk of system integration and compatibilities, and risk of regulatory compliances. If the organization start using technology, now they have to start complying with the new laws also. IT related laws and regulations will be there. So if take for example IT company. IT company has to comply with Companies Act, they have to comply with the Income Tax Act, they have to comply with the employee related laws and regulations. But now IT company, one more law, this IT laws and regulations also will become applicable, since they are dealing with the client's information confidentiality related laws and regulations, and data breach related laws and regulations, and data privacy related laws and regulations. These extra laws and regulations also you have to comply. In case if some breach has happened, you have to face consequences under IT laws and regulations as well. So risk of regulatory compliances and even performance issues. This is a repeated point. Performance issues and downtime both are one and the same. So they say the same thing even here in the performance issues. Because of heavy data load, network usage impacts, the systems might fail and create an interruption in the services. Understood? So system downtime and performance issues both are more or less the same. There is nothing new getting stated here. So these are all the various risks which are arising from the use of IT systems. Clear, everybody? Comfortable till here? Now, so coming to the next one. So yeah, so now we will come to the next most important part of this chapter. So we will try to understand something called what is cyber risk or cyber attack, and what are various kinds of cyber attacks. This is also one important and crucial area from the examination perspective. So first, let us try to understand what is the meaning of cyber risk or cyber attack. Then we will try to understand what are the various kinds of cyber attacks. So cyber attack or cyber risk means very simple. If someone is trying to gain access, unauthorized access to your system, to your data with a bad intention, that itself we call it as cyber risk. If I put in very simple terms, someone trying to gain an unauthorized access to your system, to your data, to your technology, with some bad intention, so that we are going to call it as cyber risk or cyber threat or cyber attack also we can call it. Today, this is a major risk which we are all facing. So each one of you might have experienced some sort of financial crimes. Today, financial crimes are very major crimes, right? So people often call you like they are representatives of the bank. They will pretend as if they are genuine employees of the bank, and they will ask you to share your OTPs to them, and immediately a message will come, 10,000 rupees has been debited from your account. So this is simply a cyber risk. So like this, if someone is trying to get unauthorized access to your system, to your network, to your data with a bad intention, that we are going to call it as cyber risk or cyber attack. And there are various kinds of cyber risk or cyber attack can take up various kind of forms. So what are that examples of various forms of cyber attack that we are going to discuss? So first, if you have a look at the meaning, a cyber attack is an attempt to gain unauthorized access to a computing system or network with the intent to cause a damage, steal, expose, alter, disable, or destroy. Anything can happen. A person is getting access to your computing system with the intention either to damage it, or to steal something from you, or to expose you, or to alter, to change it, or to disable you, or even to destroy your data. So with any of this intention, if some person is trying to get unauthorized access to a computing device, that we call it as cyber attack. Now there are various types of cyber attack. These cyber attacks can happen in various ways. A few different examples they have given here. So first, I will try to start my discussion with phishing. Phishing is the most common kind of cyber attack which we often come across. Sir, what is phishing? See, we generally know about phishing, F-I-S-H-I-N-G, that phishing we know. Here they say P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, that is also phishing. See, both are same. Both are actually same. See, in the phishing, whatever we know, normal phishing, F-I-S-H-I-N-G, in the phishing, what we do? So we lay a trap, we have a net, we attach some trap to that net, and we throw it in the water, and we will try to attract the fish to come to that trap. We will catch it, and we will take it home and cook and eat. So this is what basically happens in the normal phishing, right? In the phishing, whatever they are trying to say here, P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, here also same will happen. So the attacker, the cyber attacker, will lay a trap for you, and he will try that target to get attracted to that trap, and he will try to cause some damage to you. The same thing, whatever happens in the normal phishing, the same thing which also happens in this phishing also. So like if you read here, phishing is a type of cyber attack that uses either email, SMS, phone, or even social media and social engineering techniques to target a victim to share sensitive information like account number, passwords, OTPs, whatever it is. And these phishing attacks can take various forms. Like number one, we have spear phishing. Sir, what is spear phishing? In this kind of phishing, what will happen is the attacker will target specific group of individuals. They target specific individuals. Like for example, some people are targeting only bank employees. Some attackers are targeting only students. Some attackers are targeting only NRIs. Some attackers are targeting only doctors. So phishing, spear phishing is a kind of phishing attack that targets only specific individuals or organizations, and especially that will happen through emails. How they will try to target? They will try to target the victims that to belonging to specific group by way of emails. They will try to send you the fake emails and they will try to track your data. Number two, whaling. Whale. So we know whale, right? Whale is a very big animal. So whaling is also a kind of attack where the attackers will try to concentrate on senior level employees or C-level employees like CEOs of the company, CFOs of the company, board of directors of the company. So they target the top level people in the organizations. Whale. How to remember this? Whaling. Whale is a big animal. So in the whaling attack, they are basically trying to target big people in the organizations. So that's what they say here. So whaling is a type of social engineering attack, especially targeting senior or C-level executive employees with the purpose of stealing money or information. Then we have smishing. Sir, what do you mean by smishing? So smishing is the attack which they will try to attack a target with the help of SMS. With the help of what? SMS. So if they are trying to, so if you see here, smishing is a type of fraudulent practice of sending text messages by way of text messages, not by way of emails, by way of text messages. If they are trying to target a victim, that we call it as smishing. Then we have wishing. Sir, what do you mean by wishing? So the name itself says voice phishing attack. That is by way of making calls, by way of sending voice messages. So by way of voice messages, by way of making calls, if someone is trying to target you, that we call it as wishing. So phishing means basically laying a trap and targeting the victim, and that could take up 4 forms. What are they? Spear phishing, whaling, smishing, wishing. What happens in spear phishing? They target only specific individuals through emails. What happens in whaling? They target large employees, very bigger employees. Number 3, smishing. They use text messages. Wishing, they use voice messages. Clear? So that what happens in the phishing. Then we have something called spoofing. What do you mean by spoofing? Spoof means what? Duplicate. So spoofing is a kind of attacks where they will try to replicate original things. Like for example, this spoofing also can take up 2 ways. One is domain spoofing and other one is email spoofing. I will tell you one example. My website is www.fingains.academy. So this is my website. Academy. ACADEMY. This is my website. So this is my website. If you open my website, it will show some information, and if you want to buy the courses from this website, you can buy the courses. Now what some attacker is doing is, since my website is getting a lot of traction, what he has done is he has created very similar website. So he will also use FANGAINSACADEMY. So if you look at the true spelling, it was ACADEMY. But what the attacker will do is he will buy one domain, he will create one website, but he will replace one small word. In my original website, it was E, but he will replace it to A. And when you open this website also, exactly, it will look exactly like my interface only. It will look like my website only. And there also he will list the same courses. If you go and buy the course from there, gone. The money will not come to me. The money will go to the attacker. So this we call it as domain spoofing. That we call it as what? Domain spoofing, where a similar kind of website will be created with minute changes which a normal person will not be able to identify it, and they will pretend as if it was a genuine website, list the items which they want you to buy, and you will buy it, but the money will not go to the original owner, it will go to the attacker. So that we call it as domain spoofing. So then what is email spoofing? Email spoofing is the same kind of thing, but here they will try to represent themselves like a genuine employees of some organization, and they will send you emails. Like for example, my email is info@fingains.academy.com. So if I have to do any communication to my students, I will send it through this email, info@fingains.academy.com. Now someone has created a fake email, info@fingains.academy. So same small change they are making, academy.com. And through this fake email, they have sent an email to you. So I'm talking from this institute. So we noticed that you have bought the courses. If you want to avail discount, if you want to avail extra discount, you please share us your details. You share your mobile number, you share your email ID, you share your bank account details. We will give back that discount amount to your account. So here they are doing that spoofing. They are trying to replicate an original website. So in the original email. In the previous case, they tried to replicate a website. In this case, they are trying to replicate a email. So one is domain spoofing, other one is email spoofing. Clear, everybody? Able to understand? Then next one is identity based attacks. Sir, what do you mean by identity based attacks? Like say for example, you are working in some company, you are working in some organization. In every organization, if you have to log into the server, you will be given a username and password. So what you thought is, hey, I'm continuously forgetting my username and password. You wrote your username and password at the desk. On your desk, you have written your username and password. And some person who actually have seen this, he has used your login credentials. He logged into the system and did some unauthorized activity there. So here what has happened, here the attack, whatever has happened, that we call it as identity based attacks. So someone is stealing your identity. Basically, they are trying to steal your username and password, and they are trying to log into your systems in an unauthorized manner. So that's what they say here. When a valid user's credentials have been compromised and an adversary is pretended to be that user. For example, people often use the same user ID and password across multiple accounts. Therefore, possessing the credentials for one account may be able to grant access to other accounts. So basically, someone is trying to steal your username and password and logging into the systems. So that is an identity based attacks. Then we have something called insider attacks. Sir, what is insider attack? The name itself says here an external person will not come and commit any kind of cyber attack. Internal people only, like current employees or ex-employees, they are trying to compromise the server. So that kind of attacks, we call them as insider attacks. The name itself says people internal to the organization are committing these kind of cyber attacks, not someone from the outside of the organization. Then we will come to this another one, malware. So malware is also one of the major kind of cyber attacks which will happen. We call this virus or trojans, we say no. So that entirely we categorize them under malware. So malware is any program or code that is created with the intention to do a harm to your network, to your data, to your systems. And these malwares can be of various categories. What are they? Ransomware. So what do you mean by ransom? Ransom means kidnap. Ransom means what? Kidnap. So typically in the kidnap, what will happen? Take for example, there is one rich papa, and this rich papa is having one innocent kid, and there is a kidnapper. So what the kidnapper is doing? Kidnapper is taking that kid. He is taking the possession of the kid, and he is calling his papa and telling, hey, if you want your kid, you pay me this much amount of ransom. You pay me some $1 million, then only I will release your son. The same kind of thing will happen even in the ransomware also. So here there is one rich company is there. Now this rich company is having one system in which through which they are running all their business, or in which they are having all the data. Now one attacker will be there. This attacker will try to hack this system, get all the data and corrupt all the data, or he will encrypt the data and he will call the company and say, boss, you send me the money, then only I will give you key for decrypting the data, or then only I will release your data. So the same thing is happening in the ransomware. So whatever happens in the kidnap, the same thing happens in ransomware. So that's what they say here. In a ransomware attack, an adversary, that is a attacker, encrypts a victim's data. He will try to encrypt the victim's data and offers to provide a decryption key only in exchange for a payment. If you give me the payment, I will decrypt your data, or else I will keep your data encrypted. You will not be able to use it. So that we call it as ransomware. Then we have something called fileless malware. See, fileless malware are something which does not require you to install anything. The attacker will not send any code, any program, any software to install. You need not install any software. Whatever things which are already installed in your system, through that installed systems only, they will try to steal your data. They will try to cause damage. So that we call it as fileless malware. The name itself says it is a type of malicious activity that uses native legitimate tools built into the system. Whatever tools which are already built into the system, they will use that tools only to create a damage. They will not ask you to install any new software or any new program. Then we have Trojan. Sir, what is Trojan? Trojan is also a kind of ransomware only. So Trojan is also a malware that appears to be legitimate software disguised as a naive operating system or harmless files like free downloads. It will look as if it is a genuine software, but it is actually having a bad intention. See, the only difference between ransomware and Trojan is, in the ransomware, the attacker will demand money from you. But in the case of Trojan, the attacker will get access to the data and he will not demand payment from you. He will sell your data to somebody else. In the ransomware, the attacker will ask the payment from you only. But in the case of Trojan, what will happen? He will steal the data. He will not ask the payment from you. He will make benefit out of that data, whatever he has stolen. So that is the difference between ransomware and Trojan. Then we have something called mobile malware. So what is this mobile malware? These are the attacks which concentrate mainly on mobile devices, like your mobile phones, your printers, your laptops. It concentrates mainly on mobiles. So these are four kinds of malwares. So what are the four kinds of malware? Number one, ransomware. Then we have something called fileless malware. Then we have Trojan. Then we have mobile malware. Next one. Another category of this cyber attack is denial of service attack. See, denial of service attack, it does not involve any loss of data. Here they will not make you lose your data. They will not also make payment. They will not also ask you to do the payment. In the case of denial of service attacks, no payment will be demanded. No data also will be stolen. But what actually happens in the denial of service attack is they will try to overload your server. They will try to overload your server so that your customers cannot get access to that server. Like take for example, we have two competitors, two biggest e-commerce selling platforms. One is Amazon and the other one is Flipkart. Okay. See, in the recent times, take for example, Flipkart has announced so many offers, very interesting offers they have announced. So there are so many customers who want to buy the products in the Flipkart because of orders, whatever orders they are getting on the Flipkart. So they wanted to they wanted to buy so many items in the Flipkart. Now, Amazon is not happy with that. Just for example, say guys, take for example, Amazon is not happy with that. So now what Amazon has done is they have recruited some people. They have a very large group of people out there. Some 100 people are there. They have deployed 100 people. Now what this 100 people will do is they will try to continuously access this Flipkart server. They will try to overload the Flipkart server with so many requests so that the server of the Flipkart will get overloaded, and these genuine customers who wants to access that Flipkart software, they will not get access to the server. They will not get access. Why? Because here these people are there, these attackers are there, they are overloading the server of the Flipkart with so many requests so that the server will get overloaded and genuine customer will not get access to it. So these kind of attacks we call them as denial of service attack. Clear everybody? So the same thing they will try to even say it in the description so that you can refer to it, that you can read it. Very much easy to understand. Denial of service is easy to understand. Next, what else we have? We have something called a DNS tunneling. DNS tunneling is a kind of attack where the attacks will generally happen through the networks. So whatever networks will get connected to the systems, right? Say systems are all connected with through internet or intranet. So they will have connections. So through the network, someone is trying to get the access. They will not try to attack the system. They will try to attack the network. The network which is getting used, that internet or intranet, which is getting used for transmission of the data, they will try to attack that network, not the main system. They will attack that network. So that is what we call it as DNS tunneling. So DNS tunneling is a type of cyber attack that leverages domain name system queries and responses to bypass traditional security measures and transmit data and code within the network. So within the network, whatever data is getting transmitted, they will try to breach the security codes and attack that network. Next one, then we have something called IoT based attacks. So IoT is a new technology, emerging technology. We call it as Internet of Things, where multiple devices are connected to each other. Like today, our cars are connected to our mobile phones. Our air conditioner is connected with the mobile phone. We have this Amazon Alexa example. So where all the electronic devices might be connected. So that is the Internet of Things. So in case of Internet of Things, if a hacker gets access to one system, he can attack all the devices in that IoT. To that Internet of Things, whatever devices are connected, all the devices can be simultaneously attacked. So that we call it as IoT based attacks. So that's what they say here. An IoT based attack is a cyber attack that targets an Internet of Things devices or network. Once compromised, the hacker can assume control of the devices, steal data, or join a group of infected devices. Clear? So these are various kinds of cyber attacks. Able to understand everybody? Clear and comfortable? Now coming to the next concept. So now we will try to have a look at this question number 10. Very simple question. What are the various stages of the cyber risk? See, if you have to handle, any organization is prone to cyber risk. If an organization has to tackle that cyber risk, it has to go through 3 phases. So that we call it as 3 stages of the cyber risk, or even they can ask you a question, what are the 3 phases of the cyber risk? So what are they? So 3 stages are: stage 1, assessing the cyber risk. First, an organization should study and what and all kind of risk they are facing, what and all kind of cyber risk they are facing. Like an organization might recognize that there might be a risk from ransomware, or what kind of criminal activities can be performed by way of email phishing, how insiders can commit the malicious activities. Like we have seen insider threat, one example of the cyber attack we have seen, insider threat. So like that, the organization has to study about themselves and try to identify, try to assess what kind of risk, what kind of potential cyber risk could happen in their organization. Is there any risk from ransomware? Is there any risk from email phishing? Is there any risk from insider people? So that they need to analyze that. So once they have assessed that risk, the next step is they have to consider impact. if at all that risk turns into reality, how that impact could be, what and all are different impacts that could have on the organization, in what different ways an organization will be impacted. So they have to do the impact analysis, like whether there will be an impact in terms of regulatory cost, are they required to incur some legal fees because of that, or will it lead to business interpretation because of any cyber attack? Will the business go into a halt, or will it lead to any data loss, reputation loss, or will they lead to any litigation, or is there any ransomware because of that? Are they required to pay any amount of money because of it, or will it lead to any intellectual property theft, like loss of some secret information, confidential information, or what will be incident response cost, which could be for investigation and remediation? If at all anything happens, for doing that investigation, for taking remedial action, what cost do they have to incur? Will it lead to any breach of privacy? Will any personal data of the employees or the customers will be stolen, or what fines and penalties they might have to incur? So like this, if any cyber attacks materializes in the organization, they might face impact in different ways. There could be regulatory costs, there could be reputation loss, there could be data loss. So in what different ways an organization can be impacted, that impact analysis they have to do. So first step, they have to assess what kind of cyber risk they can face. Number two, they have to study how much that cyber risk can have an impact on the organization. So once they have studied the impact, now they have to start managing the risk. Now they have to start managing the risks. Now the next step is you have to tackle. You have identified, you have assessed the impact. Now you have to take the action to mitigate it. No. So that is what we call it as managing the cyber risk. So how an organization can manage cyber risk? Number one, first you have to get a holistic understanding. First you have to get an overall understanding of that cyber risk, what threat they are facing, and what impact they are going to have financially. Then they have to assess what existing cybersecurity program they are having. What is the current program? What is the current structure they are having? That they need to analyze it. If required, they need to make changes. And then you have to align cybersecurity and IT transformation with the strategic objectives. Whatever overall objectives of the organization are there, with that objectives, we have to align that cyber risk objectives as well. And then finally, understand accepted risk and document compensating controls. So finally, you start implementing internal controls. So like this, if any organization wants to tackle the cyber risk in the organization, it has to go through that three phases: assessing the cyber risk, considering the impact, then you have to manage the risk. Clear? So with this, we will end that cyber risk discussion. Now we will talk about the new concepts which are happening in the industry. So we will try to talk about various emerging technologies. First, we'll talk about something called remote audit. After this remote audit, we will have a discussion regarding some emerging technologies like what is AI, what is blockchain, what is NFT. So that discussion we will have. But before that, we will try to understand a small concept called remote audit. Sir, what is remote audit? See, traditionally how audits will happen, even now also how most of the audits will happen. If at all I'm practicing chartered accountant. One fine day, a client has approached me, asked me to do the audit for them. So how the audit will generally happen? Myself, engagement partner, I will have an engagement team. We all will go to client's premises. On one fine day, we'll go to the client's premises. We will go to the client's premises physically. We will try to get their understanding. We will be visiting the client's premises every day for a span of some 10-15 days. At the client's premises, we will verify their books of accounts. At the client's premises, we will try to understand about their entity and its environment. At the client's premises, we will try to verify internal controls. And finally, we will form the conclusion. Everything will happen at the client's location. This is how traditional audit, and today also most of the audits happen this way. But this COVID, whenever we are stuck with the COVID, we have altogether gone to another kind of audit. Before that also there was this concept of remote audit, but the concept of remote audit got more traction. The concept of remote audit got more attention. The concept of remote audit got more acceptance during that COVID time. So what do you mean by remote audit? The name itself says. So we are doing the audit without going to the client's premises. So if I am the auditor and I have my engagement team, myself, engagement partner, I am staying at my home or office. My engagement team is staying at their home or office. Without visiting the client's premises, virtually we are completing the audit from our premises. We are not going to the client's premises. Virtually from our place itself, from our location itself, we are doing the audit without need for visiting the client's premises. So that we are going to call it as remote audit. Virtually completing the audit, we call it as remote audit. And what has derived more attention to this area, especially the COVID pandemic, the situation, whatever we have faced, that lockdown and all, that created more importance on this concept called remote audit. So typically you are staying at your place without visiting the client's premises if you are completing the audit. So that we are going to call it as remote audit. And when you want to do the remote audit, when you want to do the remote audit as a engagement partner or as an auditor, I have decided to do the audit of one client virtually without going to the client's premises. I want to complete that audit. So what things I have to keep in mind? Number one, I need to check whether it is feasible or not, whether it is whether we can do that. We have to spend enough of time on planning that remote audit. Like for example, I need to check, will I be able to do the remote audit of this client? What technology I can use, which platforms I have to use. For example, in order to do the remote audit, I need to make teleconferencing calls, I need to have video calls. So to do that, what kind of technology I have to use, like what platforms I have to use. Should I use Zoom platform, should I use Google platform, Google Meet platform, and also how I should do the planning, what technology I have to use, within what timeline I have to complete the audit. So like that, first I need to check feasibility, what technology I need, am I having possession of that technology, and also agree with the client within the timeline. Client will have a timeline for completing the audit. Within that timeline, will I be able to complete the audit if I do the work digitally? If I do the audit in a remote manner, will I be able to meet that timeline or not? So first step is do that feasibility study, do that planning. Next one, you need to always consider confidentiality, security, and data protection. See, when you are doing remote audit, you will get one advantage. What is that advantage? Client will give access to his server to you. The client will actually let you use his server. They will give access to their accounting software. They will give you access to their systems. They will give you access to their so many important servers. So as a auditor, we get a privilege in the case of remote audit. The client will give us access to all their confidential softwares and systems. And also we should make sure that if we are doing remote audit, will we be able to maintain that confidentiality. Confidentiality is very, very important. Since the client is giving access to us to their important critical systems, we should not breach confidentiality. You have to maintain a lot of confidentiality, secrecy you have to maintain. Security, will you be able to maintain security? See, as I have told, various kinds of attacks will happen. So if the client is giving access to you, if the client is giving access to the auditor, so as an auditor, I can sit at my place. From my place only, I can access the client system. So I am connecting to the client's system from my place. Might be there is a DNS tunnel attack happening here. As I have told, in the DNS tunneling attack, the attacker will not target the system. He will target the network. So will I be able to implement something at my end to prevent these kind of things from happening? Will I be able to have security measures? Will I be able to protect the data? So that you have to consider. If you feel that yes, you will be able to maintain confidentiality, you will be able to retain the security, you will be able to protect the data, then only go for remote audit. If any of these things are going to get compromised, stay away from the remote audit. Go with the traditional audit approach. So whatever it is, you need to be very conscious about confidentiality, security, and data protection. And then finally, risk assessment. See, whether you will be able to do risk assessment properly or not, that also you have to consider. See, take for example, some client has asked you to do the audit. That client is not new for you. This client you have already done the audit for the last year. Last year, for the same client, you have done the audit. Now in the current year, it becomes very easy for me to do the remote audit. Why? Because in the last year when I have done the audit, I have already obtained understanding of the entity. I have already obtained their environment. I have already known their internal control. I know the risk of material misstatement. So that's why in the current year, I can very effectively do the remote audit. But take for example, in the current year, this is the first time you are doing the audit of this client. The same industry also you did not do audit earlier. For example, I have got the audit of the client, which is a software company. Till now, I did not do any audit of the software company, and this is the first time I'm doing audit of a software company. This client is also very new for me. Tell me, here will I be able to do risk assessment in a virtual manner properly? Will I be able to get a proper understanding regarding entity, environment, and its internal control if I go for remote audit? That is not possible. So that's why what they try to say here is, when it comes to risk assessment, when it comes to remote audit, you should also be cautious whether you will be able to do the risk assessment properly or not. Why? Because risk assessment is the foundation for entire audit. If your risk assessment goes wrong, entire audit procedures will go wrong. So that's why also consider in the remote audit, will you be able to do a proper risk assessment? So these are three considerations you have to keep in mind when you want to do the remote audit. So what are the three considerations? Number one, feasibility and planning. Number two, confidentiality, security, and data protection. Number three, risk assessment. Then what are the advantages of remote audit? Tell me, what are the advantages of remote audit? Cost and time effective. You can save cost. How you can save cost? You need not travel. Traveling cost can be saved. You need not go and stay at the client's premises. Stay expenses also can be overcome. Food expenses also can be overcome. So cost and time effective. Comfort and flexibility. You can work from your home, you can work from your location. You need not go to the client's workplace and get accommodated to that client's workplace. So it will lead to comfort and flexibility. And time required to gather evidence can spread over several weeks. See, for example, if you go for routine audit, what will happen is, for example, you have planned your visit to the client's premises for 10 days. So you need to perform all your audit procedures and gather that evidence within that 10 days only. But if you go for remote audit, there is no need for dedicating the time for gathering evidence. Throughout the year, at any point of time, you can collect the evidence. So you can do that. Evidence collection can be spread over several weeks, and you will get first-hand evidence directly from the IT systems. As I have told, the client will directly give you access to their systems, so you can get first-hand evidence, and also widens the selection of auditors from global network of experts. Because of remote audit, even you can go for foreign auditors also. So even auditors across the world, you can appoint them for conducting the audit. So you need not restrict yourself to one region. Across the world, you can choose the auditors. So widens the selection of auditors. These are advantages. But as we all are aware, if something is having advantages, there will be other side of the coin. There will be disadvantages as well. What will be the disadvantages of remote audit? Number one, network issues. You're in discussion with the client over Zoom call. Network issue has come. Call got disconnected. You are unable to reconnect once again. Problem. So network issues will come. Limited or no ability to visualize facility culture. See, if you go to the client's premises physically, you will get to know what is the culture there, what kind of attitude people are having, whether they are arrogant, whether they are humble, whether they are risk taking, whether they are risk conservative. So culture you will get to know when you visit the premises physically. But if you are doing remote audit, you will not get a experience of what kind of culture they are having inside the organization. Next, opportunity to present the doctored documents, nothing but manipulated documents. Since you are not getting the physical copies of the documents, everything will be stored, everything will be sent to you digitally. So there is a possibility of doctoring the documents, manipulating the documents. Remote access to sensitive systems may not be allowed. Sometimes what client will say, we will not give you access to crucial system. You want to do remote audit, you do it, but we will not give access to so-and-so system because it contains our business secrets. Then your remote audit will not be effective. And even cultural challenges for the auditor. Those auditors who have accustomed to traditional auditing, it becomes very difficult for them to adopt to this remote audit culture. So cultural challenges also could be there. So these are all various things regarding remote audit. Then we have something called data analytics, data analytic techniques, and computer assisted audit techniques. Very simple concept. See, just as I was previously telling, today there is a hell of a lot of data getting generated. There is a lot of data getting generated. And one example also I have given as the social media platforms. Just to take one Google suite, entire Google platforms, whatever you are using. Google is having hell of a lot of our data. So with whom you are communicating, Gmail, from Gmail they will gather that data. Where you are spending your free time, what type of content you are watching, YouTube will gather that data. Where you are traveling, at which place you are staying, so that Google Maps will gather the data from you. To whom you are making the payments, from whom you are collecting the receipts, that Google Pay will have your data. So like this, Google has offered multiple kind of platforms free of cost, but actually they are not free of cost. They are all invisibly capturing all your data. So now Google is having hell a lot of data. Google will have all this data, all the data who has given to the Google, you and me. When we use their platforms, we are getting the notifications. Do you want Google to allow access to your photos? Do you want Google to allow access to your location? Do you want Google to access? Do you want Google to have access to your contacts? For everything, we click allow. So when we are clicking allow, we are actually giving the permission to Google. Google, okay, no problem, you can take my data. So like this, Google has got bulk of data, hell a lot of data. From the morning you woke up till the night you go to sleep, and how many hours you are sleeping because of these wearable devices and all. How many hours you are sleeping, for how many hours you are having a deep sleep, for how many hours you are having a not so deep sleep, and how many times did you wake up during the night. All the data is there. So there is nothing called privacy today. In this digital environment, there is nothing called privacy today. Privacy is a myth. We are all living in an illusion of the privacy. Privacy is not reality today. Privacy is just an illusion. So Google is having all this data. So every day, on daily basis, they will generate terabytes of data. Now, what they will do with all this data? This data will be sold. This data will be sold. Google will sell all this data. Sir, who will be the buyers of the data? As I have told, the FMCG companies will be buyers of your data. Social media companies will be buyers of your data. Marketing companies can be buyers of your data. Political parties also can be buyers of the data. They spend millions of dollars and buy the data from the Google. Now, what they will do with the data, sir? What they will do with the data? See, just having data will not create any value advantage. If these companies are having terabytes of data, that is not going to have any kind of advantage. They should be able to analyze this data and make some meaningful conclusions out of it. So just having data is not going to create any edge for any company. They need to analyze that data and make some meaningful interpretations out of it and use that analysis for their decision making purposes. Then that data is going to generate value. But as we all are aware, to analyze that bulk volumes of data, to analyze that terabytes of data, a human can't sit and analyze all that data. So analyzing that much large volumes of data is beyond the human capability. In order to analyze this large volumes of data, we need some new software tools and techniques also. We need some new tools and new software tools and techniques also. Those tools and techniques which are getting used for analyzing large volumes of data to make some meaningful interpretation out of it, those tools we are going to call them as data analytics tools. Those tools we are going to call them as what? Data analytics tools. Like if you see here, generating and preparing meaningful information from raw system data using processes, tools and techniques, that is what we are going to call it as data analytics. One simple example, if I have to give you Excel. See, in Excel, what you will do, you will have large data. That data, using some pivot tables, using some graphs, using some interpretations, we will try to analyze that large volume of data with a software called Excel. So Excel is an example of data analytics tool. At a very simple level, if I have to say, Excel is a simple example of the data analytics tool. So what basically through Excel we are doing is that large volume of data, whatever is there, we will analyze it, we will try to interpret it and use it for decision making purposes. So here, one example of data analytics is Excel. Understood, everybody? So like this, whatever tools and techniques that are getting used for the purpose of analyzing large volumes of data to make some meaningful interpretation out of it, that we are going to call it as data analytics techniques. Now, if the same data analytics techniques are used by the auditor for conducting the audit, for obtaining audit evidence, then that becomes computer assisted audit techniques, CAAT. If the data analytics tools are getting used by the auditor for the purpose of obtaining audit evidence, then we call them as what? Computer assisted audit techniques. Like for example, if the auditor is using Excel for the purpose of analyzing client's financial data and obtaining audit evidence, now I will say Excel is nothing but a computer assisted audit technique there. In a very simple layman terms, if I have to say. So data analytics techniques are those tools and softwares which will analyze large volumes of data to make some meaningful interpretation out of it. And if that data analytic tools are used by the auditor for the purpose of obtaining evidence, for the purpose of completing the audit, then they will be referred to as computer assisted audit techniques. The same thing they say here, the data analytics methods used in an audit are known as computer assisted audit techniques or CAATs. And there are various kind of popular tools which are used in the market. They have given a few names of the softwares which are available in the market today, which will be used by the auditor for the purpose of conducting the audits. So examples of the CAATs they have given here, like there is something called ACL, which we call it as audit command language, which is a data extraction tool, and it is used for fraud prevention and detection and also risk management. And mainly this ACL will be used for finding irregularities and patterns. It will study the data, find any establish the patterns and find any irregularities are there. Then we have something called Alteryx. So Alteryx is also a kind of one audit tool, computer assisted audit tool, which will be used for audit purposes, and it will be mainly used for audit trails. It will be mainly used for audit trails and all, so that you can go through it. And also in the case of Alteryx, we are going to automate analytics using machine learning. So there is one emerging technology called machine learning, one of the wing of artificial intelligence. So we use that kind of emerging technologies to automate the routine analysis. In which software? In software called Alteryx. Then we have something called Power BI. Power BI is an extended version of Excel. It is a tool of Microsoft only. So it is a little bit extended version of Excel. Excel can handle only limited amounts of data. If the data is very big, then we need more advanced tool. So here comes the Power BI, and the difference between Excel and Power BI is Power BI will present the data in a very graphical format. Interface will be very excellent. Very lot of graphics will be used in Power BI. So just an extended version of Excel. Then we have something called Caseware. This is also one kind of software which is available in the market, which is a data analysis software in conducting audit and assurance engagements quickly, accurately, and consistently. So like that, a few examples of data analytics tools or computer assisted audit techniques they have given. 4 examples they have given. What are they? ACL, audit command language, Alteryx, then we have something called Power BI, and then finally Caseware. Understood? Now going forward, we will be seeing emerging technologies. We'll be seeing what? Emerging technologies. So in the emerging technologies, they will try to explain something called Internet of Things. They will try to explain artificial intelligence. They will try to explain blockchain. They will try to explain NFT. After that, they will try to explain, I guess, robotic process automation. Is that so? Yes, we have something called, here we have Internet of Things we have. Then we have something called artificial intelligence. Then we have something called blockchain. Then we have something called NFT, non-fungible token. Then we have something called robotic process automation. So like that, 5 emerging technologies they have explained. I will try to give you brief about this emerging technologies. I will make you understand the concept. So just try to understand the concept perspective. See, risks are going to be common. In every concept, you will try to find one paragraph which will talk about risk. What are the various risks which are arising from emerging technologies? There are common risks. Instead of, if you find trouble in remembering each and every answer separately, I will give you one technique. So there are some common risks for every emerging technology. Be it Internet of Things, if your client is using Internet of Things, if your client is using artificial intelligence, if your client is using blockchain, if your client is using NFT, or if your client is using RPA, if your client is using any of this emerging technologies, as an auditor, there will be new risk for you. You might come across new risk. So what are some common risks for every emerging technology? Number one, since it is a new technology, you need to update your staff. You need proper staff. You need to give proper training to your staff to understand and work with this emerging technologies. If you don't have a trained staff, you will not be able to work in such new technological environment. So the major challenge which is there for every auditor in case of emerging technologies is they have to give proper training to their staff to make them understand the new technologies and able to cope up with that new technology and able to work together with that new technology. It is not something which they have to ignore. They have to train their staff. If they don't properly train their staff, that is going to be a major trouble for many organizations. Number two, because of this new technology, data security is a new problem. So when we start looking into all these emerging technologies, we will see that this emerging technologies requires you to connect with the different systems. It requires you to connect with the different networks. It requires you to connect with some unknown systems. So because of that, what will happen is data security will be main problem. Someone can come and attack that system and steal the data from us. Confidentiality, breach of confidentiality. So once again, common thing, since we have to work with multiple systems, multiple networks, bigger networks, we don't know. So as a auditor, we might not understand what is exactly happening, what is happening behind all these algorithms. We don't know. See, we are auditors, right? We don't know how AI actually works, what is actually happening in the algorithms of AI, what is happening in the algorithms of RPA, that we don't know it. So because of that, there might be some loops here and there might be some errors here and there, which might make the entire system come to failure. So since we don't have understandability, lack of understandability, we don't know the deep nature of the algorithms, we don't know the invisible nature of the algorithms, sometimes something beyond our knowledge could happen, which can make the entire system go wrong. So because of that, our audits also might be ineffective. So training the staff, data security, confidentiality, lack of understanding, and also privacy breaches. Privacy breach. So personal information, confidential data, very much personal data, like when it comes to medical industry. See, in the medical industry also nowadays people are using artificial intelligence. So in the medical system today we have artificial intelligence, where if you upload the reports in one software, that software will automatically analyze, automatically diagnose your problem, and it will suggest the treatment. If that AI system which is dealing with that medical thing, if that gets hacked, lot of personal data of the customers will, lot of personal data of the patients will be leaked or not. So is that a good thing or bad thing? Bad thing. So privacy breaches. So these are all the major risks in any kind of technology, and also in any kind of emerging technology. And one more thing, laws and regulations. Because of this new technology, new laws and regulations are also coming into picture. And if you are unaware of them, you need to face non-compliances from this new laws and regulations. Also regulatory compliances also will be issued. So you take whatever emerging technology, these are all the common risk which auditor will face. You will be able to find this kind of risk in each and every question I have compiled into one. So what are the new risks which will be emerging because of these emerging technologies? So you need to properly train your staff, data security, confidentiality, privacy breach, lack of understanding, and regulatory nuances. These are common risks. Since I have explained all the common risks, now I will start explaining about each and every emerging technology in a quick manner. Okay, comfortable everybody? Right. So since we have understood what are the various kinds of risks which are arising from these emerging technologies, now let me try to explain briefly each kind of emerging technology in a crisp and concise manner. So first I will talk about Internet of Things. Say we have already seen this. What do you mean by Internet of Things? So I have already given an example, this Amazon Alexa. So whatever this Amazon Alexa you are able to see there, so multiple devices will be connected to one single main device. And even you can see here connected cars. In the today's environment, you will see this connected cars. So with your mobile device, you can operate your car. So you can lock it, you can unlock it. So that is one example. You can operate your electronic devices in your home with the help of your mobile phone. So that means all the devices are connected to one thing. So this simple concept, we are going to call it as Internet of Things. So if you see here, IoT is the concept of connecting any device, that is cell phones, coffee makers, washing machines, and so on, to the internet. And the key components of data IoT are data collection, data analysis, connectivity, and the people and the processes. So all these are various stages which are involved in Internet of Things. So first it has to collect the data, it has to analyze the data, then there should be connectivity between all these devices simultaneously. And IoT not only changes the business model, but it also affects the strategic objectives of the organization. And as we all know, whenever new technology comes into picture, new kinds of risks also will come. Now examples are going to be very important here. So there are few examples of this Internet of Things, like connected cars, connected manufacturing equipment, smart home security, and also data from machines can be used to predict whether equipment will break down, giving manufacturer advance warning to prevent long stretches of the downtime. So like that, multiple components of one entity are connected, it not just at the personal level. So whatever Internet of Things which we are experiencing at the personal level today, the same kind of Internet of Things can be adopted even by the manufacturing entities, where their production machinery will be connected with the warehouse records. So how much quantity should be kept in stock, and also this manufacturing equipment will be connected with the repairs software. So like that, so much of Internet of Things can be done even in the manufacturing entity also. So nothing much here left to discuss. So this is what the simple concept of Internet of Things. Now talking about the next technology, artificial intelligence. So what is artificial intelligence? We are all living in that world. So this is the appropriate time where we are having first-hand experience on this artificial intelligence. So what is basically this concept of artificial intelligence? So we all are aware, we humans are born with intelligence. We are the humans, we are the social animals who are gifted with natural intelligence. By birth, we will get that intelligence. But we have some man-made machines. We have made these machines like computer, we have made these machines like processors and all. Practically speaking, these machines will not have intelligence if we try to place that intelligence automatically into that machines. That is what we call it as artificial intelligence. The name itself says you are trying to put that intelligence which machines doesn't have naturally, that you are artificially trying to put it into the systems, that we call it as artificial intelligence. So if I give you one simple example of the artificial intelligence, self-driving cars. So today we have this self-driving cars, or in the normal cars also we have something called cruise control. So these are all nothing but what? Decision making. So if you take the self-driving car, there the system itself is making decisions, which lane to follow, what speed has to be maintained, how to navigate, and when to take this, when to change the lines, when to slow down, when to apply the brake. All these decisions are getting taken by the system, and the intelligence to take that decisions has been artificially put into that system by way of algorithms, that we call it as artificial intelligence. So self-driving cars are an example of artificial intelligence. Similarly, bots. See, we have this vacuum cleaning bots today. So a small device will come. So if you place that vacuum cleaning device on the floor and turn it on, you need not attend it, just you turn it on and leave it. That will go to each and every nook and corner of the room and will make sure that by the end it has cleaned the entire room. So now how that intelligence has been incorporated into that bot with the help of artificial intelligence. So basically how it will happen is with the help of algorithms it is going to take place. So how they will train is, for example, they will take this bot, they will take this vacuum cleaning bot, they will keep it on the floor. So first it will let go. For example, they have coded, once I keep it on the floor and turn it on, you have to move forward. Okay, the bot will move forward. At some point of time, it will reach the wall. There is an obstacle. Now what they will do is they will update the algorithm. Once you have reached an obstacle, turn right. So now the algorithm has been updated. Now what that vacuum cleaner will start doing. So once it has been kept on the floor, turned on, it will go straight until it reaches a wall. If it has reached the wall, then it will go right. Now after a certain point of time, it will reach the corner. If it goes right, it will reach the corner, right? So when it reaches the corner, now once again algorithm will be updated. Okay, you have reached the corner. If you take right, left, you can't move. So what you should do? You have to come back. So once again, one line of extra code will be added. So like that, with every iteration, they will add one new code, new algorithm will be added. By that, entire system will become ready. And this kind of artificial intelligence is also getting used in the financial domains also. In the financial softwares also, this artificial intelligence is getting used. And you don't know, even in the stock markets also artificial intelligence is getting used. And today we have the best example, generative AI, we call it nothing but chat gpt. Chat gpt is an example of generative AI. We all know how much impact this chat gpt is having on the industry today. Content writers jobs gone, advertising ads gone, graphic designers gone. So because of it, all because of this AI, this is what we call it as a generative AI. So that's what they simply try to explain it here. Artificial intelligence refers to a system or a machine that can think and learn. So basically, we humans have the capability to think and learn. If you give that power, if you add that power into that machine to think and learn, that we call it as artificial intelligence. So AI system utilizes data analytics and algorithms to make decisions based on predictive methods. As I've told, this involves data capturing of data, analysis of data, and we use algorithms for the purpose of doing it. And complex algorithms are developed to propose decisions based on a pattern or behavior learned over a time. We will make that system learn a pattern, we'll make that system learn a behavior, and will automatically take the decisions. So for doing that, in the background, complex algorithms are working. So that is what we call it as artificial intelligence. And we have seen audit implications and risk that is going to remain common everywhere. So we understood artificial intelligence also. Now let us come to blockchain. Sir, what is this blockchain? I would like to explain this concept of the blockchain with the help of one example. See, take for example, there is one real estate transaction which has to take place. There is a piece of land. Okay. There is a seller who wants to sell this land. There is a buyer who wants to buy this land. So if a transaction has to take place between buyer and seller, today in the today's environment, if a transaction of buying and selling of the property has to take place between two parties, it involves so many intermediaries. Just with the involvement of these two persons, this transaction can't take place. In the today's environment, if this land buying and selling transaction has to take place, it involves so many intermediaries. You need to rely on so many intermediaries, and you need to go through a lot of paperwork. And you all know today land related scams are very, very high. Land related litigations are very high. And somewhere I was recently listening to some podcast, and there one person was telling, one real estate expert was telling, 66% of the court cases which are pending. 66% of the cases in India which are pending before the courts, 66% of the cases are relating to land litigations. So as per today's norms, if a land transaction has to take place, it involves a lot of intermediaries, it involves a lot of paperwork, and there is high chance of you yourself landing into a litigation. Sir, what kind of intermediaries are required? In the today's environment, if a transaction has to take place between buyer and seller, which intermediary is required? First, we require real estate agents. See, to connect to this buyer and seller, we need one real estate agent, and we need lawyers to determine whether the seller is a true owner of this property or not. To determine that, we need legal team, lawyers help we need. And to facilitate this transaction, we need bankers help. If the payment has to happen, loan processing and all, we need the requirement of the bankers. And along with that, we also need something called registrar to register this property, to transfer the property from the seller's name to the buyer's name. To register this property, registrar is also required. So to execute this transaction in the today's norms, we need these many intermediaries, and also lot of paperwork. You all know how much paperwork will be involved in selling and buying the property today. But as I was telling, someone can create the fake documents, and the same property can be sold to multiple parties also. This seller, assuming he's a fraudster, he showed some documents, sold that property to the buyer. Then he can create the fake documents and sell the same property to another buyer. And once again, that property can be sold to one more buyer. See, these kind of cases have happened. They are happening even now. So this is what typically happening today. So like this, in so many kind of transaction, not just in the selling of buying of land, in so many other kind of transactions also, these problems will be common. We need lot of intermediaries, we need lot of paperwork, and also there is always a chance of litigation. See, all this can be overcome by bringing one technology called blockchain. All these things can be overcome by a technology called blockchain. So basically, what is a blockchain is, it is a distributed ledger. It is a what? Distributed ledger, which will be with multiple people. So let me explain how this transaction will happen in the case of a blockchain. So if we start using blockchain, what will happen is, say for example, there is a buyer, say for example, there is a seller. If the buyer wants to sell the property, if the seller wants to sell the property to the buyer, here there will be no requirement of intermediaries. there will be no requirement of intermediaries. First time transaction will happen. No? Say for example, this seller has sold the property to the buyer. Now there will be something called ledger. A distributed ledger will be there. A digital copy of the ledger will be there. A digital record will be there. So once the seller sells the property to the buyer, that transaction will get updated in all the ledgers. So this person also will have one ledger. This person will also have one distributed ledger. Some other third party is there. So like this, so many participants will be there. Everybody will have one distributed ledger, electronic copy of the ledger. When the transaction has taken place, take for example, A sold the property to B. Now once A sells the property to B, it will get updated in every ledger simultaneously. In all the ledgers, it will be updated. Now next, if B wants to, later after certain point of time, if B sells the property to C, once again this ledger will be created. Once again, one more entry will be recorded. For example, transaction has taken from B to C. So previously, when the property has been transferred from A to B, one block of data has been created. One block of data has been created which contains the details of transactions between A and B. Now when B has sold the property to C, one more block of data will be created containing the details of transaction between B and C, and these two blocks will be connected. These two blocks of the data will be connected. So there is a block of data which is connected, so that's why we call it as a blockchain. And whenever any update is happening, it is not just recorded in this one ledger. As I've told, there will be a distributed ledger. In everybody's ledger, it will get reflected. Sir, how everybody's ledger will get reflected? That is a tech thing. No need to worry about how it will be updated. Let us just understand the implications. We are not supposed to be tech experts where we should know how it will happen in the backend. That is something which will happen. That is tech side will take care of it. We need to understand implications. And so like this, whenever a transaction happens, everybody's ledger will get updated. And the unique feature of this is once the data has been entered, once a block of data has been created, it cannot be deleted. It cannot be changed. Once this block of data has been created, it cannot be deleted. It cannot be changed. Like for example, A has sold the property to B. That block has been created. This block, once it has been finalized, this data cannot be deleted. This data cannot be erased. This data cannot be changed. So for example, if C wants to sell the property to D, now D need not go before any intermediaries. D can easily find out whether C is a true owner or not, because he will also have one distributed copy of the ledger. In that ledger, all that history of the transaction will be there. So from that distributed ledger, he can find out, okay, this property has been acquired by C from B. Now, how B got that property? B has actually got the property from A. So this entire block of data will be even available with Mr. D also. He need not go to any intermediary. Even you need not go through bankers also. This transaction can be settled in cryptocurrencies. This transaction can be even settled in cryptocurrencies without any requirement of the banker. And there can be something called smart contracts, and these smart contracts will replace something called registrar. So like that, no intermediaries will be there. It will be purely a peer-to-peer transaction, one-to-one transaction without any intermediaries. And the system is so secure that entire this blocks of data will be encrypted using cryptography. So encryption will happen. It is not like just available for everybody without any security. All this data will be encrypted using some software called cryptography, and there will be distributed ledger. And once the block of data has been created, it cannot be deleted. It cannot be reversed. Able to understand? So this simple technology, not simple technology, actually I'm telling simple, but this is not at all a simple technology. This is a very complex technology, which we call it as a blockchain. And trust me, this blockchain is going to reshape the entire finance structure we are having. So if you are such a chartered accountant who is having that interest in the technology and all, so if you want to know more about the technology which is going to have an impact on the finance, blockchain is one thing which you can go to any extreme, that you can make a different career out of that blockchain, being a finance professional. So this is this kind of technology we are going to call it as blockchain. So I don't want to go much deeper into it, because that is beyond our capabilities to understand that, beyond the examination perspective also. So I don't want to drag it much further. So just we will restrict our explanation till here. So if you see here, blockchain is based on a decentralized and distributed ledger that is secured through encryption. So it is a decentralized and distributed ledger that is secured through encryption. Each transaction is validated by the blockchain participant. There will be so many participants in that blockchain technology. Each transaction which is getting recorded will be validated. All blocks of data will be sequenced. As I've told, one transaction happens, a block will be created. Next transaction will happen, a block will be created, and one will be connected to another. That sequence also will be maintained. So despite resistance, the benefits associated with blockchain are being recognized across a variety of industries. Main industry which is trying to explore this blockchain to a very much wider extent is banking. Banks are spending millions of dollars of money in order to make something out of this blockchain technology. Clear? So this is what regarding blockchain technology. Now coming to the next emerging technology, we will talk about non-fungible tokens. NFT. See, NFT is also one of the implication of the blockchain only. See, what is NFT? NFT is nothing but it is a token. It is a digital token which will represent ownership to a digital art. What is NFT? NFT is a non-fungible token, we call it. NFT is like a digital token. It is like one digital certificate which will be given to the owner of the digital art. Sir, what do you mean by this? See, earlier we used to have the so-called biggest artist we used to have, like Leonardo da Vinci. So that person has created something called Mona Lisa. So we have that Mona Lisa painting, no? Original Mona Lisa painting, one only we have. We have only one original Mona Lisa painting. So across the world, there is only one true copy, and that painting is going to cost millions of dollars. And this painting will go for auction. Someone will buy it and they will retain that original copy. But today, the way the people are executing their art is also changing. The way the artists are creating the art is also changing. Today, we have something called digital art. Today, we have some digital art, or simply you take photograph. For example, I have taken one photograph. Okay, so I'm a photographer. I have taken one excellent photograph of the nature. Now I am the person who has taken that photograph. I am the owner of that photograph. So one photograph I have taken, I am the owner of the photograph. Sir, how can I make sure that I am the true owner of the photograph? Why? Because if this photograph is uploaded anywhere, if I have uploaded anywhere on my Instagram, I have taken this photograph and have uploaded on my Instagram. Any other person can download this photograph and use it, no? But I am the true owner. I want to retain the true ownership. I am the owner of this I am the true owner of this photograph. So what can I do? How can I get that ownership of the true photograph? So what you can do is, using this blockchain technology, you can get something called NFT, non-fungible token. So you can, using that blockchain technology, once again I'm telling how to get it. All you don't worry about it. That is beyond our competence. Just we'll try to understand the implications of the technology. Okay. So what I will do is, I will get an NFT for this photograph. That means when I got the NFT for this photograph, this NFT says that I am the true owner of this photograph. Except me, nobody else can use it. If somebody else uses this photograph, I can claim compensation for them. Or if somebody has to use my photograph, they have to pay some money for me. Or I can sell this photograph to another person. For example, I have taken this photograph. I want to sell this. Someone else wants to use it. Someone is ready to buy this photograph. So what I will do is, using once again blockchain technology, I will transfer this NFT from me, and I will transfer that NFT to another person. Now this person will have this NFT. This person will be the true owner of the photograph, and I will get money for selling my NFT. Now if this person wants NFT for another person, he can sell it. Or if somebody wants to use the image, you want to rent that image, what you can do? You can rent that image and get that money from renting of that image. So this is what, at a gross level, the concept of NFT. So I don't know whether you have heard it or not. The Twitter's first tweet, Jack Dorsey, whatever that first tweet is there, that has been sold. For that first tweet of Jack Dorsey, NFT was created. It was sold for millions of dollars. So this is what the simple concept of NFT. So once again, this is also not simple. To make it simple, I have tried to summarize in such a simple ways. But this is what NFT overall means. It has no major implications, I think, on audit and accounts perspective, but still it is one of the emerging technology. So just we have to get familiar what is what. So if you start reading it, NFT means something which is unique and cannot be replaced. Unlike physical money and cryptocurrencies are fungible, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They cannot be replicated. They cannot be duplicated. NFTs contain the digital signature which make them unique. In each NFT, there will be something called a digital signature. And NFTs are tokens which are used to represent ownership. If you have NFT, that means you are the owner of that digital asset. NFT allows their creators to tokenize things like art, collectibles, or even real estate. For real estate also, there are some implications of NFT. and these are all secured by blockchain technology. How they are going to work? They are going to work on the basis of blockchain technology. No one can change the record of ownership or copy paste a new NFT into existence. So once you have NFT, only you can transfer it to other name. Someone else simply can't copy it. Someone else can't simply hack it. Clear? Right. So this is what regarding NFT. Then we have one last thing called robotic process automation. See, this is very simple to understand. This is something which I can explain with a lot of ease. So robotic process automation is something which we all might have experienced. I'm sure all of you might have experienced this robotic process automation. So what do you mean by automation? Whatever things which are taken care with the help of systems, without manual intervention, without any human intervention, if some activity is happening, that is what we are going to call it as automation. Automatic means what? Without manual intervention, if something is happening, that is what we call it as automatic. See, in the businesses also, there will be so many tasks, there will be so many kind of tasks which are very routine, which are very mechanical. Now, what businesses started doing is using technology, whatever these routine tasks are there, they try to automate it. They try to automate it using some software bots, not physical bots. They have created from software robots, not physical, they will not be tangible. They are basically some software codes, and that software will do that activity without your intervention. Whatever normal mechanical activity which generally happens, that will be automated with the help of software. So that is what we call it as robotic process automation. I will give you one example. See, IVR calls. Okay, let me put it this way. Swiggy order. You might have all placed your order on Swiggy or Zomato. So you placed an order, but you need some help with that order. But if you need some help with that order, what you will do? So you will go to that chat option. In the Swiggy, there will be one option called chat option. If you open that chat option, there in Swiggy, it will show, hi, this is Swiggy Jenny. That Swiggy Jenny is a robot. You are talking with a robot actually. So when you open the chat box, so you will get one welcome message. Then it will ask, how can we help you? It will give you 4 options to choose from. For example, in that one option will be there, I need help with my order. You will press that. Now it will show some 3-4 orders. With which order do you need help? Now you will select that order. Once you select that order, it will ask, is there any problem with the delivery? Or is there any delay in delivery? Or if you want to know the delivery status, or if there is any problem with the order which has been delivered. For example, the food which you got is not bad. It was some rotten food they have sent you. So you will say, you will select that option. There is a problem with the delivery. There is a problem with the food which has been delivered. Now, once you select that, it will give you one more options. So like that, it will keep on generating the replies, and you will keep on contacting with that, contacting within that chat box. Do you think you are actually speaking with a human being there? No. The thing which you are actually chatting is with a software bot. You are actually chatting with a what? Software bot. So this is what simply we call it as robotic process automation. So we all are aware, these are all routine activities. After experiencing so many number of customers, Swiggy will have an idea. Okay, generally customers will have these kind of problems. So multiple kind of options they will give. In each problem, these could be the issue. So over a period of time, they have learned generally what kind of problems customers will have. So whatever their routine problems are there, they have automated, they have fed all that into that software, and the software will speak with you. If at all the software is unable to solve your problem, then a human being will come and address your issue. But till whatever routine things are there, all that things are taken care by software itself, that bot itself. So this is what we are going to call it as robotic process automation. So whatever process which is very mechanical in nature, that will happen automatically with the help of using some software bots. This entire process we call it as robotic process automation. So even in the material, they will give one example of passenger ticket booking software also. They will give one example of passenger ticket booking software also. Like if I show you that practically, I will show you that practically, and on the basis of that understanding, you can read it. So just give me a moment. Yes, see here. So the example which they give here is, just give me a minute. Price. Yeah. So if you come here, if you come and click here, IRCTC. So just open the IRCTC website. So if you open the IRCTC website, I think I'm covering it. So here at the end, if you see here, there is something called Ask Disha. Able to see here? Ask Disha, LED symbol is there. So I think I'm covering it. So exactly here at the bottom, Ask Disha, this thing is there. So when I go and click here, So if you see here, there is something called like this, it is opening up. So what you can do is simply you can come here and say book ticket. So like this, a RPA will open. So now what you can do is you need not follow all this. You can just type your request here. Like for example, type here option has been given. So I'm clicking here. I want to book a ticket. I want to book a ticket. See, in the chat box, I'm not speaking with human being. So here I'm actually speaking with the software. So I will click here. I want to book a ticket. Now it will ask me from which station do you want the train. So I will say I want the train from New Delhi. Then it is asking till which station do you want the train. So for example, I have selected Chennai. What is your date of journey? It is asking me what is your date of journey. So I have selected. So for example, on 31st of November, I want 31st of October. In which quota do you want to book your tickets? Like for example, I want my ticket in general quota. So now it will show me all the tickets. I can choose a ticket. Now after that, it will ask me to do the payment. So once I do the payment, automatically it will send a ticket to my email address. Automatically it will send a ticket to my email address. You see here, whatever routine processes, generally, if I call the railway, if I want to get the ticket booked by a ticket booked before this RPA came into picture, what should happen is I will call the customer care. One person from the railways department, he will speak with me. He will ask me what is my requirement. Whatever here the software has asked, the same person will ask for all the details, and accordingly, he will book the ticket and send it to my email. So like that, see, generally what will happen is if you keep the human beings, there is some problem there. So these routine activities, if you excessively rely on human beings, various problems will come. Like for example, sometimes a person can be absent. So on that day, you will not be able to book your ticket. And human beings will work only till certain point of time. After 12 o'clock, he will say, I will not work. But the software will work throughout the day and night. No, 24/7 it will work. And some RPS are so advanced that even you need not type it. If you speak it also, it will capture. Even if you speak if you click here, what is it? So it is okay somewhere. Yeah. So it will ask for OTP and all, no?
Please enter your
okay.
Please enter your mobile number.
Just wait a minute. So once again we will do. So even you need not type it. It will have an option of speaking also. Just you speak it, it will automatically convert it into text and it will solve your problem. Like if you see here at the bottom, I think you are not able to see. Yes. Now if you see here. So at the bottom, if you observe, here send button is there. Before that, mic button is there, no? There, if you click there, if you touch it, it will receive your voice, it will automatically process into text and it will fulfill your request. So this is one simple example of robotic process automation. So with this background understanding, whatever I have told, so just to go through the answer, you will be able to understand. Nothing but RPA means an automation of a repetitive process which is performed by users. It is a software technology that emulates human actions, that replicates human action, interacting with digital systems and software, process efficiency, customer experience, all this can be achieved. So RPA can interact with any application or system the same way people do, except that RPA bots can operate around the clock, non-stop, much faster, and even with 100% reliability and precision. So whatever software we have seen, that same software, they will try to give an example here. So just go through it, you will be able to understand it. So yeah, these are all the major questions from the digital audit. So I want to explain one more thing. There is something called next generation audit. Nothing but what could happen in the future in the audit. In future, what we can do with the technology. So just an imagination. This is not something which is happening in reality, but just they will give one perspective how the next generation audit will look like. See, in today's environment, we are actually doing sampling populations, but we are actually verifying the transactions on sampling basis. But in the next generation, we might get a software where we no longer want to rely on sampling. We might have a software which can do 100% verification. Today, in order to work, we need multiple data sets, but in the next generation audit, on one data set, we can do all the work. Today, in order to do the audit, we need for purchase a separate set of data, sales a separate set of data. Like that, we need different sets of data for doing different kinds of work. But in future, we can have one single set of data where we can do all the work on that single set of data. Today, we have different tools, but in the next generation, we will have one single integrated ecosystem whereby all operations we can do that. Today, we are doing manual risk assessment. In the future, we might do dynamic data-driven risk assessment. Today we are having separate communication system. Tomorrow we will have embedded communication system. As and when you do the work, simultaneously reporting also will happen. That embedded communication also can come. Today we are all doing repetitive task, manual task we are doing. In the future, we will allocate our mind only for high value tasks and those tasks which requires analysis. Today we are doing manual work. In future, we can convert to automation. Today we are having ad hoc insights. That means overall insights we are having, but in future we might get insights which are broader than audit. So like this, in the next gen audit, we might shift from here, we might make progress from here to here. And this next generation tools and techniques are, we have some advanced technologies like drone technology. It is something they are telling, drone technology. See, this drone technology means today all the photographers are using the drone technology, like they will fly the drone and do the shooting. They are telling that we auditors also can make use of drone technology. How, sir? For example, if we are unable to go and verify the stock, what we can do is we can operate a drone, go to the warehouse where the stock is mentioned, and with the help of drone, so to the drone, cameras and all will be attached, so we can go and do the physical verification with the help of a drone. Or even what we can do is, to the drone only we can attach the scanners also. Like for example, in big entities, to identify that item, there will be barcode attached. So what you can do is, to the drone you can attach that barcode scanner, so the drone will automatically capture the scanner, capture the QR code or this code, whatever it is there, and it will tell what that item is. Just as I've told, this is just an implication in the future, not happening currently. They are telling it is possible in the next generation audit. We can use a drone technology for our audit purposes, for doing physical verification of stock, for doing physical verification of fixed assets. For all these purposes, we can use drone technology. And we have something called augmented reality, AR. So for augmented reality, if I have to give an example, we have this PUBG game, right? So PUBG game is an example of augmented reality, where a digital world will be there. We will have one character. So as if that character is us, we go and shoot, we go and play, right? So that is what we call it as augmented reality. So that kind of character creation we can do even in audit also, if in future any advanced software comes. And we have something called virtual reality. So we have this glasses, no, VR glasses, virtual reality. So where you will wear the glasses and everything will be very will feel realistic. Like you can wear the glasses and speak with another person. If you want to have a Zoom call, so you can wear that VR glasses and it will be as if the other person is standing in front of you. So that kind of technology we call it as virtual reality. And we have much more advanced technology called metaverse. So metaverse is a much more advanced concept. So metaverse is like metaverse is like digital world. We will live in a digital world. If I have to give you one simple example, take, I'm a person sitting in Hyderabad, okay? There is my another person who is there in Delhi. A cricket match is happening in Kolkata. In Kolkata, a cricket match is happening. Now what we can do is, being myself here, my friend staying at Delhi at his residence, we both can collectively watch a match which is happening in Kolkata. Not physically, but a virtual world will be created. A digital version of cricket stadium will be created. So we will wear some device. Once we wear the device, we will imagine. So what will be visible for us as if we are sitting in the cricket ground on a audience chair. My friend in Delhi also wears some device. Once he wears the device, he will also get an interface like he is also sitting beside me in the same Kolkata cricket ground, and match is happening in front of us. So almost a real life like environment, that too digitally created. So that we call it as a metaverse, a highly sophisticated digital world. So if that metaverse also takes some realistic shape, even we auditors also can make use of that metaverse technology for the purpose of conducting the audits. That means without going to the client's premises only, a digital client environment will be created. So where we will wear the glasses as if we are walking in the client's warehouse, as if we are walking in the client's manufacturing entity. So all that lively experience also we can create it. But once again, I'm telling, these are all something which could happen in the future, not currently happening now. So this is what we call it as, these are all the various kind of next gen technologies. So that's all, guys. This is what regarding the digital audit chapter. I think we have spent a lot of time, 1 hour 45 minutes we have spent on revising this digital audit. I know most of you guys are having trouble regarding this chapter. I hope I'm able to do little bit of contribution in your preparation. So that's all for now. See you in the next video. Bye everybody. Take care.